Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds. Last day, game number 2. Enjoy.
Half of the lobby there, but a lot of players also looking at the Warlord's Palace, and Wet Jungler wins the lobby, wins the portal pick. We're going to Shurima.
I do like the choice of actually going to Warlord's Palace, especially if you're an Earth gamer. You want a lot of emblems, but you don't want to guarantee a couple of those Shurimas, Noxus, Bilgewater. You don't really want to give that possibility to those players. You just need the advantage of it to yourself.
It'll be interesting to see how our players decide to go. Of course, in our first game, we did see quite enough spatulas being shared out liberally with the field. Perhaps we'll see the same again.
Yeah, Shurima Bazaar really was making it quite the bizarre game with everybody having so many extra emblems, but we've seen it quite a bit this time. Warlords not going to be the same case overall. Looking at Wei Jin straight away, this is somebody who hadn't picked Ancient Archives in quite a few of his games, but last game, everyone that was on Earth did pick the Augment.
It's probably going to be the same moving forward. Maybe 5 or 6 players are going to still choose the Ancient Archives. Maybe one's going to try to find something different. But if it is a silver augment, maybe no one is going to go branching out, or maybe only a couple.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's
I mean,
a lot of
there's a lot of gambling. A lot of people like to gamble with Earth. So, I mean...
Well, I mean, that's one of the larger ideas, isn't it, here? You know, particularly for our players who came in dead last in our previous game. You know, they've got more incentive to try and take riskier moves. But, of course, if you have a bad first game and then have a bad second game, you are massively behind everybody else.
Especially speaking about Hong Lian. He needs to bounce back. The Twisted Fate tech has been working in the past. He needs to find a way to just say, maybe the last game was just a fluke. Maybe what you're doing is correct.
Well, I mean, according to the stats, it kind of was a fluke, right? Because he had never gone below a 5th throughout the entire tournament.
Branching out.
And now he found himself an 8th, and as you said, branching out, how many people are clicking it?
The observers are teasing us here with a possibility. We see them flooding in. We actually are, as you said, Pyhet, seeing some of our players deciding not exclusively to go for branching out. Wet Jungler picking up the inconsistency of Hong Lian. Of course, has the chance to pick up the Pandora's items in silver.
So I'm seeing 5 branching outs, if I'm seeing correctly, and we're seeing a wide variety of them. I'm really interested in Title's one because he has the Void Spat.
Yeah, Tidal actually one of the players who played towards the 6 Voids, I believe. And a lot of players actually went in that direction and found good success. At 6 Void, it was like a 3.38 average placement, which is incredible for a composition that is just supposed to be tempo and a lot of times places in that middle of the pack. But we found a lot of players actually going first with it.
Well, Pi, if we do see, of course, we'll be seeing the Void in longer term. What are you liking most at the moment? Relying more on the Herald or pushing all the way up to Baron?
I think Belcos is your main priority for sure. You want to hit Belcos free, maybe even Rek'Sai free as early as possible. Just try to out-tempo the entire lobby. Maybe you can go to 8. I've seen people just sticking to just the Herald and continuing with the Herald Little Zidane, as you guys like to call it. But it's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, in the stats, going to 8 has actually just done a lot worse. The Baron has not been successful over the course of this tournament. A lot of that might just be lobby tempo and the fact that playing really high tempo Void is better than trying to scale into the late game where even if you hit the Baron, maybe you're contending with somebody who's now been able to go to 9 and play a chase trade.
And just changing the topic because we're seeing Hong Lian and we're seeing the spells as everyone grabbed. We're seeing at the massive spell for Volta, Challenger for Hang Seng, strategies for Wei Jin, and Altenawe he only has a failure spat. He's probably, if Hong Lian continues his plan of going Nila, Altenawe is going to contest him.
Yeah, you mentioned before, you know, the MF being a potential option to come in here. Of course, Trashjits play very well together this year, and the MF both getting a lot out of that AP.
Yeah, for sure. So Wei Jin, I mean, definitely going to consider going in that direction. He has been kind of the most successful on Azir. He really likes playing around that unit, so Strategist does work for that composition. We even saw the Telestrator bit with him being on the Misfortune comp and having very good positioning there.
And Hanxing, I think he's the wet jungler of this game. He's pushing levels. He's at level 5 at 2-2 if Challenger spat. We've seen in the last game how strong it can be. Maybe we will see it again.
No, it is in his wheelhouse. As we noted, there are a couple of players who have led more heavily into that. As you guys are saying, it is a very narrow line of success, so you've got to have that experience there.
Yeah, realistically, I mean, Han Jing is actually one of the very few players who have had success with the Challenger line. A lot of the players who have been putting up pretty poor results. In fact, you know, Xiao Ge, one of the other players in this lobby, the only times he bought forward was on Challengers. It was the only comp he wasn't successful with, so very few players have made it work. We saw Wet Jungler in the last game. Maybe Han Jing can do the same here.
and this is great for wet jungler. Maybe if he's able to win and proc the inconsistency and continue that streak of free gold every round, it's going to be great for him and in going forward. Because you don't want the streak, of course, but in the value of inconsistency is so strong that you cannot sleep on it.
It will mean that if Wet Jungler can keep flip-flopping backwards and forwards between wins and losses, that's a good amount of gold into the inventory.
He's keeping a streak, which obviously is good, but you're grabbing inconsistency and not being able to pursue it feels bad.
Yeah, it's especially rough with a loss streak, right? If you grab inconsistency and then you like win streak, it's like, okay, well, I still get good gold and I don't lose any HP, so whatever, that's fine. But with loss streak, you're losing HP and losing value of your augment, which is horrible, but you know what's not horrible? Spatula for Altanawe.
That's interesting, because Altanawe has got the Freljord initially. Rather than having a spatula, he could double into to look for that level 9 board.
So the big thing about that is being able to use the Freljord as a flex piece. It can just pair up with an Ashe if you go for Vanquishers. It could pair up with a Sejuani if you play around Bruisers and go into just whichever carry. Probably Vanquisher still on the carry, but that is the likely position. Maybe Shurima even has a potential emblem.
He has the option. The good thing about Freljord, as you said, it's a splash. It's a splashable trade. We've gotten so used to seeing 6 or 9 trades, but those is really there are not as many comps like that, trades like that. But having 2 or 3 Freljord will always be good.
We check in with Volta, of course, who did decently well in the previous game, landing a 5th, back onto a very powerful emblem, as we said, from the branching out. Got decent backline optimization for the time being. We'll see if he can keep this win streak going.
All right, the Melio going to be trying to keep it going up against Hanxing there with the challengers, but it's not actually a very strong board for Hanxing, just a bunch of 1-star, so Volta should be able to continue the streak here heading towards Crux.
And maybe this is a different approach that you see to the Massey, because the Massey you're already thinking Queen or Mordekaiser, but he's actually trying to itemize maybe even a Sona early game and just using the Shoin plus the Melio to try to win for now.
So how do you guys compare that in terms of approach? Because obviously we've seen the Quinn be very, very good. It's taking a more AP-centric line, a viable way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think AP can still be great. I think Misfortune's the main one we look at. Silco hasn't overly been successful, but realistically, Mordekaiser, Kaisa, and Azir can all flex with those items.
And I'm just wondering, now that we're watching back on the title, if he's gonna continue, is he gonna roll or not? But Hong Lian, for the 2nd time in a row, he's playing Piltover. And not from 2-1, from 2-5.
Yeah, it's both times. I mean, this is another Piltover play from Hong Lian, but he's already on a 4 loss. He's looking for the 5 loss, but he's already down to 67 HP. And if he wants to meaningful Piltover cash out, I mean, he's going to have to drop very low once again.
I mean, this is the key, isn't it? You look at his portrait down at the bottom right, you see he has 1 point in the game. He needs a big win here just to reset his tournament day and let him get back to regular TFT.
But unlike the last game, he doesn't have a spatch. He doesn't have a spatula. He's not gonna be able to go to those 5-7 build shorter to maybe even cap out and try to just cash as early as possible. Having 59 HP with only 3 charges of Piltover, only being at 6 at 2-7, it doesn't look good.
We came into this saying Hong Lian is our lowest variance player, and then back-to-back games playing for like a 2-5 just incredibly high variance plays, right? The potential of cashing out, going for a win, but it hasn't happened, and there's a lot of potential to just bomb out if you don't hit on your first roll down.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to hear what Hong Lian is thinking right now. Again, the player who almost made it into the top 8 before has already bettered his performance by doing so, but it feels like such a risky route to take. And a lot of other players will be looking to play very strong, as we can see at the top.
And there are 2 players that are continuing their streak. Volta with the Demacia just trying to out-tempo their lobby, just go to level 7 as early as possible. And title, when you want to reroll, you want that HP cushion, so you can actually roll in peace and not be punished for just trying to be as low as possible.
Yeah, and we see Tidal actually going to level 6 now. We see he does have the Vel'Koz on his board, and he picked up an Azir as kind of the intermediate carry until he gets to that late game, while Volta also keeping this streak with the heavy Demacia board. We see he pivoted the Demacia emblem to the front line to play around that Alawi too.
I do think that's smart. Early game, the tank stats are really meaningful. You go towards maybe a pop, not really a Poppy, but an Illaoi or maybe a Casting later. She's gonna tank for a long time, and we may see that now. And the Shoyin is already on a Queen. it wasn't Sonida being on the queen, and we fight for Demacia so early. 5 Demacia actually so early.
The Emir player up against Wage and Iverson. We will see the loss streak remain in place. So, as you noted before, we've got the multiple win streaks still remaining in place. That's a lot of pressure down on the bottom players in the HP totals.
Yeah, Hong Lian at 46 already in this game. Once again, racing to the bottom. We'll see if he can turn around that cash out and actually make something meaningful of it, because in the previous game, it just was not there.
And I'm trying to see if there's anything that actually stands out. What are you pointing at? Tell me.
Void Crest for title, picked it up.
Ooh.
He's potentially going for a Baron play this time with 2 of them. He hasn't committed to rerolling yet, and he was tempo leveling up. But now, we actually see him grab it and then roll down. It's a very interesting play from title.
Ah. All right, so Paya, we haven't seen a ton of the Void being played, at least on the stream. What does this tell you? What is the approach for this game, you think?
I think it's similar to what we saw with challengers. You want to be you have to have as many units in 2-star as early as possible, so you can actually win streak your way through. And I'm curious, there are 2 players besides the Void emblem. There are 2 players with dedication.
Yeah, one of them being Hong Lian is the one that's very surprising for me. I know Altanawe still found a spatula. He's going to be able to go vertical if he would like, but the one for Hong Lian is a certain surprise. He doesn't want power now, I suppose, as we see on the other side. That is power now, and hey, maybe this makes sense for title, right? Get the Void Crest so that you guarantee 6 Void at level 6, and that allows you to tempo, and he can still play for the roll down, even though, yes, you don't need to Void Crest when you're playing reroll Void. It does help him get the tempo now while he's at 100 HP.
This is one of those lobbies where there are 2 people win streak and they may not find each other up until way later into the game. So the HPs are going to be so separated one from another.
They are in each other's pool, so it's still possible. But yes, the longer these 2 stay apart, the more damage they will do across the table. Hong Lian, those numbers don't lie, and they spell trouble for him.
Yeah, I mean, down to 34, we're going to have to see if he can end up cashing out. Once he rolls down, we need to see what he's doing there, because Tidal and Volta are fighting for that big streak, which is going to keep them with a lot of pressure. We see, once again, Hong Lian still has not improved this board, right? This is still aiming for loss streak. He has the perfect items for Neela. That is what he's playing for. He has not changed the strat.
Ideally, he loses 2 more times, goes to the 20 cash out, which can work for a bit, but he's having a really bad loss, a 6-unit loss, 21 HP. If he loses 1 time like that again, he's going to be on single digits.
He's on pace to go out in stage 3.
That would be absolutely wild. Again, do remember, our players are pushing forward to try and grab themselves 20 points. Once they do, they will put the lobby in check. If they win a further lobby in first place only, they will win the tournament and claim the title of Global Champion.
No second spatula for Altanawe. He made a Shurima spat already, but you really want the Tactician's Crown plus the dedication to go towards the highest cap possible, but that's a quite standard one.
I'm interested what Altanawe's total game plan is here, because he did take dedication, and that could either be for Shurima vertical, but also Bruiser would make sense on that board, because you're playing Freljord with the Sejuani. You want to link that and then play a backline of Azir to link Shurima, but it does look like Shurima has been put in and potentially might be what he goes for, but yeah, that seems to be the idea with dedication there.
A Shurima Rek'Sai, that's an interesting thing to
we
cook.
see Bruiser's work pretty well. Hong Lian, though, is on his last ropes. I think maybe not going to get eliminated in this round.
Nyla.
Has at least find the Neela to be able to bring her into play and get some real power behind this board.
He's got the Neela pair down to 21 HP going against Weijin. There seems to be no upgrades across the entirety of Stage 3 for Weijin here, as he's still just carrying the Jinx 2. So the cash out potential is here. Hong Lian will find that 16 cash out once again for this T-Hex, and we'll see if he can stabilize with that cash out on 21 HP, 0 gold, but pair of Neelas.
It looks like history is repeating itself. Again with only a 16 cash out, again with only 21 HP. Is the cash out any meaningful? It's going to be a couple items.
All right.
Two components so far, maybe 4. 3 components and a couple gold, a bit of gold, which is fine with Pandora, but not exactly the thing that's going to spike you.
It's always a little frustrating when you end up with 2 bows when you've already got your Neela fully itemized before that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great call out, right? You need frontline items here, and all we got was one cloak, and that's not really going to get it done.
To be fair, he does have Pandora, so
true.
he'll eventually get there, but you need to win now.
Does he have an eventually, though, is the big question. So we've got the one frontline item coming into the mix. Altanawe, of course, is desperate to keep his own HP up, but it looks like this time Honglian will be able to put together the beginnings of a streak.
Yeah, I mean, Altanawe also kind of on a very weak board here, not able to stabilize, down to 12 health now. He had a lot of gold, though, so I'd like to see Altanawe's roll down because I'm sure he will do it here on 4-1 after Wolves.
I'm really worried about him. He has 70 gold right now. He's pumping levels. He's quite strong. He's gonna spike up. So I hope so. I mean, I'm a little shaky. My bias is getting shaky.
No, I can understand that.
No.
Last time, of course, just the one player in the mix. Altanawe did do not as well as he could have in the first game. So again, we're building towards a scenario where Altanawe could be trying to fight out of a huge hole to even have any chance of winning the championship for LATAM.
I mean, this is the massive rolldown that he needs to go. He's gonna pump levels. He's gonna be level 7. Will he be able to find anything meaningful?
And just there, Aphelios 2 picked up for Wet Jungler. Might be able to play around that to keep up the HP for now as he also hits a Taric. So playing around those as we got the roll down from Altanawe.
No Asirs. Hanxing already has an Asir 2. Weishan already has a Nasus 2. So those are not showing up for Altanawe. No real carry to make him spike.
It was a very narrow roll down from Altanawe, and we've seen this plague some of the players in the tournament, especially because on this patch, you're playing around very specific forecasts. Altanawe saw forecasts, but just none of the ones he wanted.
We're going to have to rely on the Rek'Sai with the Shurima. At least a good amount of punch behind, but the damage coming out of Wage Iverson's board is tremendous. We noticed the misfortune from before. She's online. The strategists are coming, calling Altanawe. Might get locked out here.
Yeah, Altanawe falling so incredibly low, but there's the Rek'Sai, the resets. She's not doing enough, and an Ashe with the blue buff isn't going to cut it. Altanawe will hold on with 2 HP, but this is 4-2. You don't want to be on 2 at this point.
Please. I mean, I'm just like, my precious, I'm just trying to spam praise in chat right now. But as the good thing is the final augment is golden, so the lobby's not going to spike up as much. Is there anything that actually catches your eye? A lot of the Urf grab packs so far.
Weijin passing up another strategist emblem and instead just going for the bag to try and get more gold, more econ invested into that board, and got a support item pickup for Honglian.
Okay, so could be a little bit pushed further, but yeah, we are seeing low HP totals across the board, low gold across our bottom players as well. That's going to be a huge sigh of relief to find the Neela upgrade.
And Mordekaiser 2 for Bolt as well. So the lobby, they were trying to roll and they actually hit. Altanawe, he's only carrying a Rek'Sai and a Morde 1. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
See if Altanawe's got enough to hold on any longer. Again, Altanawe is by far the lowest HP player in the lobby, and we can see Hanxing is pushing through with tremendous speed.
Yeah, there's the Azirs Altanawe was looking for, and it's got a Challenger emblem on it. This Azir is massive, and he's the Emperor. Altanawe is eliminated, going out in 8th here in the second game on 4-2.
I'm so sad, man. I mean, that happens when you're gambling with so low HP. Sometimes the shops will not go in your favor. You will not find a way to adapt. And well, we've seen what happens. But alongside Altanawe, Honglian and Weishan are close to continuing the same fate.
Yeah, this lobby HP is very interesting, right? Altanawe already down, Honglian at 11, Weijin at 18, and then it jumps up the Hongqing at 43.
Yeah, that's going to make all the difference. You just got so much more room to work with. Title, of course, has spent some of that money to get up to Void 8. The Baron is online.
Baron online in this fight going up against Wet Jungler. The Giant Slayer on Aphelios will be massive in this matchup to be able to shoot through that Baron, but Stage 4 Baron should be able to get the job done for a title. It'll keep scaling throughout the game, but this is still a lot of power for Stage 4.
And this lobby just went so fast. You have Title and Bolta both win streaking for a long time and pushing the entire lobby up, down in HP. Hanxing with the challenge also doing that. The Baron, as you can see, is very stable in Stage 4. He will win rounds. Honglian did as well, so he's going to be alive for at least a couple rounds more.
And we have stepped ahead of the curve here. As promised, we will get ourselves some extra spatulas to mess around with for our players to try and bring everything together. If you noted, Pipe, we are seeing the HP totals, particularly towards the bottom, closing in. We could be in line for another elimination soon.
I hope not. I hope we'll have 2 players die in the stage 4. That will be a testament of how strong this lobby has been and how dominant title. Just how great he played this game and how Bolt is actually keeping up with him.
It's always fun when in these Earth lobbies a spatula goes around the carousel. And
No one
everyone's
grabs
picked.
it.
But nobody's really got a composition that really loves to use it here, so it's a little hard to piece that together. As you know, maybe Hong Lian could have tried with Bilgewater, but when we look at his spot, it'd be very difficult to fit that in here.
No, he's got very little to work with at all. At least we have got some of the armor shred on the front line, but it's all about how much damage this Neela can put out. If she can't punch through, the board falls to pieces.
All right, here comes the fight. Hong Lian trying to survive through stage 4. Weijin in his pool, so this could be a big fight. Instead, it actually will be, it looks like Weijin's board, but it looks like Weijin's ghost is what this will be, the fight. He's going up against the strategist, and now Weijin has actually found this Nasus too to complement the board, and I think that makes a massive difference to give time for this Misfortune and that strategist board to ramp up. But Hong Lian has the Neela, trying to punch past, almost gets there, the Aatrox. Gonna pop out. What's the surprise in the box? It's Aatrox.
It always is, isn't it? But I mean, that's a huge sigh of relief for Hong Lian there to hold on for a little bit longer. Again, we have got Weijin Iverson on very low HP as well. Of course, Weijin came in third in the previous game, but a big loss here down in the bottom 4 could reset that.
He's trying to find the Nautilus free, but Hong Lian is also holding Nautilus, so he may not find them. We've seen MF as strategist be a strong comp in the past, but apparently he's not having enough damage to actually make it matter. Only a Misfortune 1, and Misfortune 2. The series doesn't have that much damage, and the front line, the Nasus is really trying to hold up, but he's fighting against a really strong board.
Yeah, and he had Silver Ticket, not able to hit any of the 3 stars. It's kind of the idea of this comp and just not getting there, and now he has to face Wet Jungler, and he might be eliminated here.
Yeah, Wet Jungler taking a leaf out of Volta's book with that Aphelios. Needs time to ramp up, and the front line needs to remain in place. It's not quite up to the task. We have got the damage boost kicking in. The Giant Slayer, the Hextech Gunblade, the Nasus is still up and alive. He walks forward, and he slaps down the Aphelios.
He's got that dog in him. That Nasus staying alive for so long in that fight. The front line so important for Weijin.
And this is the bad part about Weijin rolling so aggressively in 4-6. We are on Warlord's Palace. You need the gold to maybe find anything, any upgrade, any item that you were actually looking for. I don't know how many players were actually working towards that, but so Weijin had to grab the first thing he found.
Yeah, so Weijin ending up with a Gunblade, which is solid, especially with the power of this Nasus. But then the other item left over is a bow and a cloak. It's not exactly what you want. Is Volta here going to take more components as well?
I mean, this is the consequence of being in such a high-stakes situation. You have to make decisions that can maybe haunt you for years after this event. If only I made a different choice earlier on.
Well, and for now, at least Volta he only has a Queen 1. The board that he found was the same one in 4-1. He still hasn't been able to capitalize and maybe go forward. But I do see a lot of people going level 8, like Hong Lian, who still is trying to survive. He's alive longer than the last game, so that's some progress at least.
Yeah, and Hong Lian actually holding on to 3 components on the bench still, rolling them. It's 3 raw. It's Hong Lian being confident at 11 HP that he can keep winning fights and not just slamming for as much power as he can.
That seems incredibly bold to go for that plan and say, you know what, I'm playing for the long term here. I came in dead last in the previous game. I'm not going to settle for just 6.
But he leveled to just put an Isla 1.
Yeah, running into Xiao Ge. Going to be trying to win that. The Jarvan not able to find the Neela, so she's getting a lot of damage through. But can she actually take the fight? It looks like Hong Lian should be safe here. Big stun from Heimer, but that's not enough on the other side, though.
Yeah, we've got the challengers coming forward in force, and we will see a huge hit being let out there. The challengers apparently need to be more front and center in this conversation.
Weijin goes out. He doesn't have as many points. That's only gonna be on like what, 8 points, which isn't that great place to start with.
Yeah, and I mean, Weijin was the highest variance player outside of Hong Lian being the lowest variance. Weijin very good at playing for top 1 and 2, but since he plays for that highest cap, sometimes we see what happens here. His roll down doesn't go how he expected, and he ends up in a 7th.
No, that's really bad, as you said, Pi. Pretty much resetting his early success. So we will be seeing some interesting stuff on Wet Jungler's bench.
Yeah, we've been seeing EMEA players going for the 3-star Aphelios a couple times now. And
Maybe it's a secret tech.
Wet
Well,
Jungler looking to be there.
Well, they've been training together, so Bolta told him, hey, you just need to grab an Aphelios free. And
I mean, someone's going to do it in the
I
lobby,
mean,
surely.
yeah. And Bolta's not doing it because he's playing Demacio.
Hong Lien trying to hold on, still though looking very powerful. This front line has really come together, and it seems as though no board is able to punch through it just yet on a 5-win streak.
We are getting confirmation from our admin, Shad. If you were here, of course, before, you would have seen that we had Volta going at full bore into 3-star Sejuani. In this case, our EMEA players are doubling down. 6 Aphelios for Wet Jungler, 6 Mordekaiser for Volta.
Can we just speak about how flexible Wet Jungler has been in these last 2 games? He's playing Challengers. No one really plays Challengers. He's been playing Aphelios. Only he and Bolta do that. So apparently his plan towards the final was just grab the comps that aren't really contested.
Yeah, it seems to be working, right? The rest of the tournament, Wet Jungler was very heavily on kind of the default lines. He was playing Demacia, he was playing Ionia, and he just had a few outlier games, but mostly on the primary compositions, and now really branching out.
All right, we'll see if Hanshin can hold on against Xiaoga. Of course, this will be 2 of our Chinese players against each other. It did not go so well for China in the previous game. Only 1 player managed to hit the top 4. I think their HP totals are good enough to stay alive, but look at that damage on the back line as he is staying up on the challenges. Needs a couple more shots and will find them.
Yeah, Xiaoge going to be down to a single life here in Stage 5, down at 10. Hong Lien now has surpassed another life total. He's been holding on for a long time after surviving with that cash out.
And we were worried. We were throwing questions about how stable Hong Lien actually was. And I mean, he's playing TF. He's a master of this comp, so he knows the ins and outs on where is the threshold of actually being powerful. And he's on a 6-win streak right now.
And he's in a really good spot. You know, with Xiaoga and with Hanxing just above 16 and 10 HP respectively, our top 4 could belong to Hong Lien very quickly.
Yeah, he could easily make it to that spot. Wet Jungler at 31 is kind of that next threshold of HP. We've seen Aphelios kind of fall flat a lot of times, but he is close to the 3-star, and I think that's the saving grace considering 60 gold to roll down for Aphelios 3 right now. And with the Mordekaisers out of the pool for Volta, it will help Wet Jungler get towards these 4 costs.
I also want to point out Title. He's slowly, we haven't really spoken too much about it, except for the fact that he found the Baron. But he has 70 gold. He's gonna survive 2 rounds and gonna go level 9. So anyone that can actually fight Title and take that free win is gonna be amazing for them, and for their placements.
And Tyler's definitely seized the opportunity here, as we will see the elimination this round. It will be China versus China again. Potentially going to be keeping it out of the top 8. The Misfortune, the Azir, and of course the Gangplank.
The big damage coming through the boat, popping off, but that is still Anila alive, and the boat's going to whiff onto her. It's down to the Aatrox, but she dashes away, dodging, and that's going to cost Xiaoge here, as he will fall in 6th. It felt like he had the fight, but the Nila with the fancy feet juking back and forth.
That will reset his tournament to basically back at the beginning after a strong first game. So we're now really looking for our players, particularly Wet Jungler, of course, who came first in the first game, to rack up a lot of points in this game.
I actually, in the analyst desk, I want to listen to Bebe's thoughts about 5 build shoulder, because I remember that he's been trash talking about that specific trade points. I mean, there's something that he's doing that makes the comp really stand out. He's going from 11 HP to wherever he is now.
Yeah, Hong Lien's really made it work, and we'll see if it can punch through the front line of Wet Jungler as that Aphelios tries to keep everything alive with the Hextech Gunblade.
And we've got the upgrade on the Heimerdinger as well as the Ginsu's Rage Blade. So Wet Jungler's board is going up here. You can see him sitting back and awaiting as the front line does evaporate. Aphelios gets torn to pieces. Wet Jungler's front line not quite good enough.
And where you're playing Nila, you want to be on the same side as the enemy carry. So you have the big tanks in Nasus and Nautilus, and they will just last forever. So Nila, eventually, whenever she punches through the front line, she'll go to the back line.
Yeah, the massive MVP of Hong Lien's comp is actually this 4 Juggernaut, not necessarily the 5 build, right? Because the 4 Juggernaut is keeping this Nasus and this Nautilus alive for so long. Hitting that Aatrox when he did was so incredibly impactful.
Yeah, Jungler trying to go a little bit stronger, but do notice on the right-hand side, but you noted that Title had a lot of gold in the bank. That gold has gone forward to level 9. Title is trying to cap out big.
And also capping out big, you can see with Jungler's bench. 7 Aphelios, 6 Shams. He's gonna start rolling.
He's gonna send it. He's gonna send it all the way down. Look, he knows he has to find it because 16 is not entirely safe. He hasn't seen any yet. 30 gold already
That's
gone.
one.
There's an Aphelios. He's 1 away. Can he find it? Can he find another Aphelios
Shen.
Premier? There's the Shen. He's gonna have to start selling things to try and look for this. Still not there. Couple more rolls. Sells the Shen,
Okay.
doesn't find it. He still might have one more life. 16, not safe, but it can get him there.
He's fighting against Tidal, who just leveled to 9. And actually, no, he's playing against... Oh no,
It's
we're
Hong
watching
Lian.
Hanxing against Hong Lian, the fight for the 5th place.
This is massively important. Again, for our Chinese players, trying to not to keep each other too far down. But these challenges, again, have impressed. The front line, though, those juggernauts you mentioned, they are titanic.
They are too much for the challenger board, and Hong Lian going to survive from the bottom. 11 HP on stage 3, up to the top of the tables in the top 4.
Is Wet Jungler dead? No,
There's a
1
one!
HP!
He's got one more chance for Aphelios.
Find the final roll down. Only 10 gold to go. No upgrades, no Aphelios.
Cannot get there. He needs to start selling something from his board to look for this. We saw something go down. He's selling out of
Cassadin.
some of the Cassadins. Still looking, can't find it. Is there anything else
Maybe
he can sell?
he can find the Nico. There's a replacement Nico on the bench.
Yeah, I could sell Nico, grab the replacement, look a little bit more.
At least nobody is holding the Aphelios that we can see on the bench. But yeah, for Wet Jungler, it's got to be disappointing. He's so very close to absolute power.
All right, Wet Jungler trying to stay alive. He's against Volta, who has not been able to find the Mordekaisers either. Here comes the fight. There's trying to break through the front line. The Aphelios having plenty of time and not getting stunned by the Jarvan.
Yeah, we have got the Newsly Big Jam kicking in just a second. The Aphelios damage will ramp up enormously. Barely there. Now the Aphelios is online. Mordekaiser kills him though, and it's not good enough. Wet Jungler 1 Aphelios away, has to settle for 4th.
Wet Jungler not going to be able to continue a reign of terror to start things off, but a top 4 following the first is still very impressive to start the day.
Poor guy. He was so close. Well, I do wonder now that we're watching Title's board. He's been able to win streak all the way through. He's trying to be so the HP gap was so big, and maybe he'll go third.
Yeah, it's possible that he could, because Hong Lian is so incredibly strong and has the Giant Slayer, importantly, onto that Neela, so can get through the Baron. But Tidal did find this Aatrox 2, and maybe this is enough. It's not fully itemized, though, and that's the big difference, but he's going up against Volta.
Yeah, that Baron, of course, is going to be absolutely enormous to try and get through. The ramping up damage is good, but the front line is starting to evaporate. Hong Lian fighting on the left-hand side. We could be seeing eliminations by the truckload. The Mordekaiser survives all the damage, but then blows up right at the end.
So Volta going to take the damage from the Void. Tidal staying highest HP in this lobby as we get to the next carousel.
That Gunplank was so clutch. The explosion of the ship was exactly what he needed, and now he may breathe in peace. Maybe he won't be able to. He won't go third now, but he has a lot of. He has a Velvet 2. Velvet 2 for Tidal on this comp. That's all you need. That's all you were looking for, and you finally found it. On the other side, Hong Lian 8 Neelas.
8 Neelas. He's also not hitting. He's doesn't
the
have
same thing.
Hong Lian has to decide. You're 11 win streak right now, right? You can't sell to look for it. It feels so tough to decide because he's been winning.
Do you change the Aseers? Do you sell the Aseer 2 for Aseer 1 roll, or are you actually that confident in the power of your board? You're fighting against Volta, then the Demacia board who has already killed Wet Jungler.
Yeah, and he destroyed Volta's Ghost in the previous round. Does he feel confident that because it was such a big win, he can win here?
All right, we see Volta's Demacia coming face to face. This time round, we do not have the Neela going straight into the backline carries. Mordekaiser will be able to stay ramping up. It's so important how long he can stay alive.
And he goes down now. Neela still has the dog in the front line. Nanas put a lot on, but the snipe, it's just a win too. No! Enough, but Volta lives on 2 HP.
And Hong Lian really want the Volta to go out because Volta's holding a Neela. They're starting to deny. They're noticing the big win condition for Hong Lian. Can he do it?
Again, Honglian came
BMF.
in dead last in the first game. He really
So the Nautilus.
needs his first place. It's all in all the time.
the Azir.
We're selling down. Can you do what Wet Jungler could not?
He didn't hit. He didn't hit, and now his board's weaker. He didn't think he could beat Tidal. He wasn't confident, and now he swapped in an additional Neela to try and help the back line, but his front line has been softened.
He can go third for that. And that is going to be really hard for him. He has 1-8. He needs a lot of points.
Honglian versus Tidal on the right side, trying to survive. Volta versus Tidal's Ghost on the left. The big boat coming through. Honglian, maybe the front line wasn't enough.
Oh my gosh, so many 4-star disappointments. The respawn is nothing at all as Volta survives against the Ghost. One more cast, maybe you can swing it. She misses with the ult,
No!
and Volta
Double
takes
kill!
the L. Honglian takes the L as well.
Double kill for Tidal. The